this again. So I just went to listen back at my initial live video and the audio was awful. So I have my earbuds in and hopefully this will be better. So I want to expand on the carnivore vegan post that is now getting quite a bit of comments, not only on my post, but on Brandy Lee, who shared it. There's a few things I want to clarify. One, this is a call out to social media because it's so funny to me how quick people are to come make comments on a post without really understanding the post, the point and intention behind it, and possibly the wisdom that you might not be understanding yet behind it. And this is so prominent on social media where people want to share their reactive opinions without really understanding the meaning behind the post, not understanding the true intention behind it and the actual inspiration, or without understanding the person behind the post, how they actually feel. Oftentimes I don't necessarily put my full opinion on something. I just share how I observe in the world. And I feel like that's one of the most important things we can do is look at something from a broader perspective as the observer rather than simply being immersed in it and holding your dogmatic belief without being able to see the agendas, the strings behind the agendas, and who it's serving why. So, first of all, I'm aware of the difference between vegan and plant-based. I was vegan for a while. I would still consider myself vegan for the most part, but due to life circumstances, which happens, I'm not 100% vegan. However, I am very fruit-based, and I fully believe that we are fruit-based. So, just to put that out there. 2, the point behind the post is to bring awareness to the agendas behind the food industries and the diet industry. Nutrition altogether is a very manufactured industry that leads into the food industry, and it's always changing, and it's usually tied to marketing tactics of the supplement and food industry. Now, let's go back to where I came from. I've always been interested in nutrition. I've always been in kind of food world, nutritional world. I started as a personal trainer in my 20s. I got many different certifications in nutrition and studied a variety of nutritional diets and trends, and learned a lot through different gyms that I worked for. I've taken certifications for raw food nutrition, vegan nutrition, naturopathic nutrition. I studied under Dr. Morse with the International School of Detox for regenerative nutrition. And I'm a yoga instructor and have studied Ayurvedic nutrition. So I would say my study, self-study, and school study in this industry is extensive, because it has been a point of my life that I have always had my own interest in, because I have dealt with my own addictive eating habits, disorders, weight issues over my lifetime, body issues. All of it comes back to body issues, your own self body issues, and spiritual wounds that you've had throughout your life. Again, a lot of it can go back to childhood traumas of how you were raised to believe or how you were raised to think about your body and food. Now, the point behind the post is to acknowledge that there is an agenda behind trends. We see the trend show up in nutrition, in dieting, in the food market. The food market reflects the trends of the nutritional industry. Sorry if my service is cutting out here, but now I also went to school, college, for retail merchandising and marketing. Learn to study trends. I can very quickly see how a trend is showing up, whether that be in the fashion world, accessories, food, whatever. And with the ever-changing nutritional industry, supplemental industry, you also see that reflected in the consumer market, in the food industry. So we constantly see these new trends in diets. Yes, I'm speaking in particular to food and how you are eating, not veganism. Yes, I know there's a difference between vegan and plant-based. So if we want to say plant-based, you can do that as well. But the point is, this new carnivore vegan trend is an interesting division of the nutrition industry. And we're constantly seeing this play between diets. And again, it's constantly pitting us of these trending foods that you will now find in the stores. And I see it because I shop for a living. So I spend the time looking at foods, and I've seen this progression in the marketing of foods for these diets. And guess what? 99%, well, I would even say 100% of those foods are not foods that are ideal for our optimal nutrition. Whether that be plant milks, butters, fake eggs, any of the snack and processed foods, whatever it is, these are all consumer tactics. And that is the point behind my post of it being two sides of the same agenda. And I feel like the carnivore side it feeds a person's patterns, instinctual patterns, to maintain a meat-based diet. And by offering these trends, it reinforces their belief that we need meat products and we need animal foods. Now, I also will say, I know people who are carnivore, and I know people who are vegan, obviously, in both sides. And I believe that there are people who can do it in an ethical way, the same way you can be an ethical vegan. Meaning, you are a person who eats primarily animal products, but you do it with intention. You are hunting all of your own meats, raising your own chickens, whatever that is. Homesteading type ways of living to where they are producing their own products. And there is intention behind people who do that. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily, but it's not my place to judge that because they are doing it in their own intentionality. And on the other side, vegan is the same. You can choose an ethical and intentional vegan lifestyle that does not involve any of the fake food products that are marketed toward veganism, because the majority of those foods aren't exactly ethical or healthy. Because I personally believe that the best diet is eating simple, raw, fresh foods as much as possible. And let's be real, it's very difficult to be 100% perfect on all of it. So give yourself grace and give other people grace as well. because where you live makes a difference. I am in Wisconsin, and as you can see, there is snow outside, and we have a long cold winter. So my access to fruit isn't always ideal. But I live primarily on mangoes, grapes, apples, citrus fruits, and soups throughout winter. But I also have 3 little kids, 3 boys. And this is where the intuitive side comes in. Because my personal beliefs of how to eat should not be pressured onto my children of how they need to eat. Because they deserve their own freedom to explore food. And they also have a father's house that they go to, and they eat very differently there than I do. So for me to be overly restrictive and forcing them to eat a certain way because I believe in it is not intuitive. And there's also a difference between intuitive and instinctual. Instincts can still be influenced by our environment, meaning the way you're raised, the way society creates a programmingness of the way that we think that we're supposed to do something. And that programming can become instinctual patterns. And I think that's where a lot of people think, oh, I'm intuitively guided to eat this food, which might not be a good food. It could be meats. It could be some sort of food that isn't good for your body. Intuitive is something that does not happen overnight. It is body-led and spiritually led. And it's not body-led in that I'm hungry and this is the food that my body wants to eat. Intuitive is heart-centered. And that's why I still do personally believe we're frugivores. We're meant to eat primarily fruits. And when we realign with that, you are very heart-led in the way that you consume not only food, but the clothes you wear, the products you use, the way you take care of your own wellness and lifestyle. I'm a very simple, minimalist person. And the way I live and the products I have reflect that. So I hope that when people read posts that they start to reflect on their own reactions and why they come up, because that trigger is your opportunity to go deeper. And there's so many reactions that come out on social media, and it's just your own personal reactionary behavior. That is your opportunity for self-reflection, rather than projecting it at the person who is posting something, because they also have their own inspiration and intention behind their post. And like I said previously, I had been wanting to make that post for a long time and held back because I was cautious of how people would react to it. But now I'm stepping more into I'm going to say how I feel, and I'm going to say it with intention and consciously making posts or reels or whatever, because I feel it's soul-centered. It's coming from my heart, and the way I feel is true to me, which might not be true to you, I suppose, but the way I observe things. And I observe agendas behind the consumer world and behind our society very deeply. So that is my expansion on that post, and I hope it can clarify some things. Not that I ever need to explain myself, but for this, I felt an explanation and expansion would be helpful for anybody who wants to know more about where it came from. So I hope that helps, and I appreciate